Who do you think's got a better future at the moment? Is it Newcastle or Spurs?
At the moment, you've got to see Newcastle.
And is that going to affect your decision where to go more?
Absolutely.
He should do, really.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Howe's building something at Newcastle. Obviously, Big Ange's going to get the opportunity. Spurs fans will be hoping he gets the opportunity to do what he did at Celtic, and that's build a side. I mean, the one thing you'd say about Big Ange, his recruitment at Celtic was excellent. But, whether he's back to do that. But in terms of a building process and a project, it's clear to see Eddie Howe's what he's trying to do at Newcastle, and he's probably well ahead of schedule. So that would be a big factor, I think.
Can you imagine the atmospheres next season as well? Champions League night. Oh, mate. St James's Park.
Ray, I've been up there a few times last year. That brilliant, man. That place is jumping. It's magic.
Matthew, the Spurs fan, says absolute hypocrisy. If it was Arsenal and Newcastle, you lot would be saying London all day long. Or maybe that's because Arsenal have Champions League football next season.
And Arsenal's a building. That's a building project as well.
We're talking more. You've got to get it out of your head. We're talking more about where the clubs are at the moment and the development of that team and what's more
The
attractive.
only thing I would say, I don't know whether you agree, and I've said it for a number of years, so I need to mention it again. Maddison would be the nearest thing to Eriksson. I still don't think Spurs have replaced Eriksson in that position, and Maddison would be more that type of player, I feel.
I think Newcastle got more players in that position, if I'm being honest, but they're dying out they're crying out. Sorry, they're dying out.
Oh no!
They're crying.
They're bleeding out for a midfielder.
They're crying out for an attacking midfielder. They've got Højbjerg, they've got Skip, they've got all them sort of guys in there who are very good players, hard working, but they just need someone who's a ball player, don't they? Badly.
If Maddison went to Newcastle, would he start every game? Bear in mind they got Champions League football.
Well, I
next
thought
season
Joelinton was unbelievable last season.
Incredible.
I like him in central midfield. I really do like him in that midfield. Gameras you got, who's a top player as well.
Gameras a great player. I'm going to say something today. I don't think I've seen a change and an improvement in a player in Joelinton in years.
He can play everywhere. He started centre forward, didn't he? Then he went right wing. And he fitted in for. I saw him a couple of times live. But the Brentford game was excellent.
Yeah.
When he fitted into midfield second half, and I thought he'd run the show. Newcastle are going forward, aren't they? You look at the season they had. I thought top 6 would be a brilliant season for Newcastle.
Agreed.
They managed to stay in that top 4. I think every single player overachieved this season. I think the back 5 were brilliant. Pope in goal, and the back 4 was sensational.
Callum Wilson at the end of the season.
Yeah, Callum Wilson.
Great run.
The midfield, Joelinton, and all them sort of guys all stepped up. So, and Eddie Howe, just a couple of clips when we saw him in the dressing room. Yeah. When Dan Burn was dancing,
fantastic.
You could see the camaraderie. The team spirit was absolutely top class, and you need that if you're going to be a successful club.
It's a funny one, Ray. Laura, I'm thinking, listen, they'll be absolutely delighted, thrilled where they are, particularly Newcastle fans. But there's a little bit of me thinking, would Eddie be saying to himself, I'd have settled for top 6 and then next year's the top 4. Have I got there a little bit early in this build? Do you know what I mean? I know beggars can't be choosers. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? I think it's fantastic where they are and they'll embrace it. I mean, I think champion. I remember that night. Was it Barcelona went to St James's Park and a spree? I mean, that place will be absolutely jumping next season.
Do you think, just thinking about that, if they were sort of thinking, right, my eyes are on top 6 or something, and then you get Champions League, and then everything has to accelerate at a much greater speed to try and get the right players in?
I would say Maddison will make a bigger impact at Spurs, though, wouldn't he? Than Newcastle, because I think the Newcastle midfield is a lot stronger. I know Bentancur was out for quite a while and they missed him in central midfield, but Maddison, they're dying out for a player like him, Spurs, aren't they?
100%. Ray, I don't think, and
Eriksson, you mentioned it.
I don't think they've replaced Eriksson in that particular role. Somebody that can take it half turn, see a pass, release, whoever it may be, Son Kane.
See, Newcastle got Gameras and Joelinton. They've still got good midfielders in there.
Alex done well.
Here's a question for you then. For example, if like you say, Ray, if Maddison went to Spurs and they keep Harry Kane, they need a new goalkeeper, don't they? Because he's going to be off. They need a new defence, pretty much. All 4 are we saying? Maybe at least 3. How far off do you think they are? And how many key players, do you think they need to bring in if they got Maddison to push for a top 4 finish?
I think Spurs fans are realistic. It's been a horrendous season this year, but that's gone. It's a little bit like Chelsea. It's a clean slate now. You've got a new manager. If he does, and you mentioned it earlier, Alan, he's been brilliant on recruitment, isn't he? So fantastic. If they can get that right at Spurs, then they might have an opportunity to get back to that top 4. That's what they've got to aim for next season.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.